Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to our Thursday talk. Today we're going to talk about trust issues. We're going to talk about some little things we can do to overcome trust issues. And I want to state this: trust is slowly built, it is easily broken, and it is even harder to rebuild. This was not meant to discourage you, even though it's a big statement, but it's a reality. And anyone who had his trust broken will know this. And trust is so important. We all need trust in relationships, not only with our spouse, but also in our friendships, but even in our workplaces and in leadership. If you will ask, I know there has been like these researches done in people at workplaces, and asking them what is the most important trait or the most important traits for a leader. And trust was one of the things that was always coming back. It's one of the top things. So trust is so important, but many of us struggle with trusting people. So again, I want to say welcome to you who just entered. Welcome to our weekly message of inspiration and activation. Today we're going to talk about trust issues. And I want to ask you at the start, do you find it hard to trust? Have you struggled with trust? If so, just put yes down. And then I want to ask you, what are some things you can advise for someone who might be struggling with trust issues, how to overcome them? What would be your best advice for those people? Just remember that what you have learned in life can help someone else. So don't keep yourself from writing it down and helping someone out. And I want to ask one other thing, just to make it fun, before we jump into the subject. Give me one emoji. Just drop down an emoji that best describes your mood today. How are you feeling? Just drop down your emoji. Mine would be like this sweaty one, like having a nervous smile, sweaty one. And I will tell you in just a second why. So, it was my oldest son's first ever school day today. He never been to school. He's never been actually away from me or my husband or either with my parents. He's always been with people that I know. And today he was at school. And as I came to pick him up, he told me in tears, he said this to me: "Mommy, I was crying and you drove away." And I was like, oh. So it breaks a mommy's heart. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. And some of you will one day. But it also showed me, or it made me realize that I can't always be there for my boy, and he will need to learn that. And my boy just had an experience. He just realized that his mommy and daddy can't go everywhere he goes, and we will sometimes disappoint him. And me as well. I had this experience that I have to trust my boy and trust God with my boy in a different way now, with me not always being around. So we're learning to trust more. So yeah, that's my explanation for my emoji for today. But what I want to take out of this is that we as humans, we cannot fully rely on other people. Trust is important, but there will always, every one of us will have had an experience, a moment in which we put our trust in someone. It might be a father, a friend, a teacher, a leader, and that person failed you. That person disappointed you, didn't deliver what they promised, or whatever it happened. They weren't there for you in a moment you needed it. All of us know moments like this in our lives. And all of us have also failed other people, disappointed other people. Isn't that right? Can you relate with this? Have you already had such a moment? I'm sure you have. So there's this big risk in life that we can become hesitant to trust people. Life holds this risk, and maybe you feel hesitant. I'm too excited today. Maybe you feel hesitant to trust others, or maybe even resistant, or maybe even a bit rebellious when things change around you too much and life isn't that clear as you would like a math equation, 2 plus 2 is 4. Life is not like this. And maybe you struggle with that. And when you struggle with trust issues, with trust, unintentionally, your focus or your expectation of others or situations of relationships will always be the worst. You will expect the worst of someone or the worst of the situation. And unintentionally, unconsciously, you will be seeking out, looking for the gaps, the unknowns that would just reinforce the fear that you already have. So let's just talk about what are little things that we can do to help us. How can we be helped with this? And the first big thing, what I want to state is we got to learn to trust God before we can trust people. And I don't know about you, but have you ever prayed these prayers like just telling God what he should do? Like, God, I have this problem. If you could just do this, that, tell that person that he needs to do this, give this to me, telling God exactly how he needs to be God for us. There was a moment in my life that I became aware of how much I prayed in this way, how much I was telling God what he should do. And then the question came to my mind, am I trusting God to be God? I think not. So what happens when we don't fully trust God is that we actually believe that our safety or being loved is dependent on our performance, on what we do. So we end up doing things to please God. And we don't only do this with God. You will see that when you have this trust issue with God, you will do the same with people. You will try to perform to gain love of people. You will try to do what you think other people expect of you and act in such a way, behave in such a way in order to gain safety, love, acceptance. And that's just a really hard place to be in, because don't you agree we can't do that for a long time? It's it's just destined to come out what sorry, I just got a oh guys, I'm just reading one of the comments that came in. I'm just gonna read it, Marnix. I'm just gonna translate it, Marnix, so that other people can understand what you said. Is that fine? So, hi Marnix, and yeah, you said little. There's not a lot of people that you can still trust today. Yeah, it's true. You cannot trust anyone, and that's going to be one of my points in a few minutes. But that's true. We're not supposed to put our hearts out for anyone, just anyone. Thank you for pointing that out. So I'm just going to look where I was. So I was talking about if we cannot trust God, we will have difficulty trusting people, and we will try to perform in order to gain acceptance, and that's a relationship that's just not going to stand. So what are some things that we can do to learn to trust? Well, first and for all, and it's the obvious one, and you can't run away from it. I'm sorry, guys, but it is, don't run away from your healing process. All of us have been hurt. All of us have had moments that we were hurt, and all of us need some kind of healing to happen in our hearts and our souls. And we from time to time, we will need to go through healing, and we need to process things from our past so that we don't take it into our future. Some of us will actually need professional help, and if you need that, I really suggest you do that. Find someone good and I would say trustworthy, but that would be a bit funny. Yeah, but yeah, it's important to get help. But if you don't need professional help, you can also go through a book that speaks on this subject, and take some friends with you, do a small group on the subject and go through it together and help each other in this healing process. So first thing that you can do to help overcome is first get healed. Do whatever it takes, pause things, but first get healed. Second thing that you can do that can help is to verbalize it. First, verbalize that you have difficulty to trust. First, say it to God. God, I find it hard to trust you in some areas be honest about it. He already knows, but he loves to hear it from you. He loves you to learn to be so open to tell him, but also with people. And here it's so true what Marnik said, don't just say it to anyone, but when you have a friendship or a relationship and you really feel like this is the person you really believe, this is a person you want to build further with, if you don't trust that person, you will, how you say that, shut yourself down, you will withdraw yourself and build up walls, and that relationship will not be able to go deeper. It can actually break. So especially when in marriages, but even in work relationships, sometimes, you need discernment here, but telling the other person like, hey, I struggle to trust people, it can help the other person to be aware of it and to be sensitive about it. It can also create an opportunity for you and the other person to work together on it. Maybe that other person also struggles with this, and you just help that person by verbalizing your difficulty, and it will really release that pressure that you need to perform, that you need to be someone that you're not. So is this helpful for you? Just let me know. The third thing that I wanted to say, and like said before, some people really don't deserve our trust. And sometimes this feeling that you have difficulty to trust someone, sometimes that's a feeling that's actually warning you shouldn't trust that person, especially if that person is not open for you. Like if you're saying like, I have difficulty to trust, and that other person really doesn't respond well to that, like doesn't respect that, well, then probably that person doesn't deserve your trust. And you need to really, use discernment on this. And the next thing that helped me with trust is something, well, I'm not sure what everyone's going to think about it, but it helped me, and I'm curious to know what you think about it, so let me know. But it's doing a prophetic act. A prophetic what? Yeah, a prophetic act. So let me try to put in words what this is. I find it hard to describe it, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Just tell me if it's not clear, okay? So it's like doing some physical act. It's like doing an act, doing something physically that serves as like a picture in your mind to remind you of a decision you made, a declaration you made, that has an impact also spiritually. So I will give you an example of a prophetic act that I've done when I was a teenager. So I was in a youth event, and it was around trusting God with your next season. And what we've done is we've lined up 2 lines of people, each across of one another, and crossed our hands and hold them together. So you have this whole line of arms crossed people. And then one by one of us would go on the stage and jump into the arms of the people. And it was kind of as a declaration that you trust God, that you want to trust God with your new season, and you're jumping into that new season. And for me, that has been such a reminder each time that I was afraid to trust God with something, in this new season, with something that I couldn't understand, or I didn't know there was a certainty around. I just remembered that act. So I'm curious to know if you've done something like this. And my last thing that I want to advise you that helps me is also an obvious one, but it's ask God to show you in what areas you struggle in your life with trust. Are there areas in your life that you don't fully trust Him yet? And also people, the people closest to you, especially like deep friendships and spouses, areas that you might be performing. Ask God to show you those areas, and then ask God to help you trust Him in those areas. So that was really it for today. I hope this has been valuable for you. Let me know your tips and what you have done or what someone you know have done to overcome trust issues, because you might be helping someone else who's listening here with your best advice. And we're all here to learn from each other. So I want to end up with this verse that I've taught my boy in the last few days in preparing him for school. So, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. This is written in Joshua 1:9, and it's one of my favorite verses. It has helped me in so many situations when I felt uncertain and, I had to face things and I had difficulty to trust in that moment. I just had declared those verses to myself until my heart felt a little bit more courageous. So have a great evening. See you again next week. Bye-bye.